we have a nice speciality bread. This is garlic and Parmesan cheese bread. It's quite a heavy bread. So it's been a little while since I made a proper speciality bread. I've made some traditional sort of like flatbreads and things like that, but it's been a little while since we've done something that's a bit more like a loaf. So before we can actually obviously get everything going, we need to get our yeast going. So in here I've got 105 mils of warm water, and I've got 2 teaspoons of sugar, put that in there. I've got 185 mils of milk, and I'm going to add that to that. And then finally I've got a sachet of dried yeast, and in that goes. And then what we're going to do, we're just going to give that a little mix, and we're just going to put it to one side to let that yeast activate. Put it there in the sunlight. So let me just remove this, and then we'll get on with the dry ingredients, as it were. So obviously, because I'm making bread, I've got some bread flour in here. I've got 450 grams of that, and then I've got 50 grams of oats. Now I've got sort of ground oats, if you like. You could have actual flaked oats if you want, rolled oats or whatever you want to call them, but I'm going to put them in there. Then we're going to add some salt. I've got 1.5 teaspoons of salt, and I'm just going to give a little bit of a mix together. But obviously, because it's garlic and Parmesan, I've got some finely grated Parmesan cheese, how much? 225 grams of that. Which, if you buy it in like you can buy the grated. I bought actual fresh Parmesan and grated that up. If you buy it like we get it in most of the supermarkets, unground or whatever, sliced, it's like a triangle shape, and that's almost 2 of them. So I'm just going to get that roughly mixed in through that, and then the next thing we're going to add is our garlic. Now obviously it's garlic and Parmesan, so it's got a lot of Parmesan in it, and it's going to have a lot of garlic. As a minimum, you want 2 whole bulbs of garlic, obviously peeled. I've got about 4 because my garlic's getting a bit old. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to use my mincer, grater or whatever. I'm just going to get all of this garlic minced into that. Well, that was interesting. Got halfway through the garlic and my press broke. The only one I've got. But luckily I've got my little blender, my little ninja blender. So I whacked the rest of it in there, and actually that did an excellent job. So all I'm trying to do is, because obviously being it's wet as it were, sticky, the garlic is clumped up a bit, so I'm just trying to make sure I've knocked out any lumps and get it nicely mixed through. And then I'm just going to make a little well in the centre, and I've got here 45 mils of extra virgin olive oil, and then over here we've got our yeast mixture, and we're just going to add that into there. And now I'm just going to give this a good mix through before we can knead it. Tip that out of the bowl. Quite a weird texture, obviously all that Parmesan in it and the garlic makes it feel quite a textured loaf. It's not one that you're going to better knead like normal bread dough, but we'll just give it a little bit of a light kneading, more just to make sure we got it all nicely combined. And then I'm just going to put it back into that bowl. We're going to cover it, and we're going to leave it for about 45 minutes get it basically to rise. It doesn't rise an awful lot. What I'm going to do is I'm going to split this, and then we're just going to roll it, shape it into two sort of longish loaves. Okay, I'm not going to put them in a tin, we're just going to make them a bit rustic. So I'm just going to flour my baking tray. My oven is preheated up to 200, and we're going to bake them in there for about 30 minutes plus. I'm making two small loaves rather than one large loaf, so it possibly won't take as long. Just going to give it a little bit of a light flouring on top, and then that's now ready for the oven. So it's done now. It's 35 minutes it took, or just a fraction over 35. It's quite a heavy, dense bread. It's still very hot. It's just out of the oven. It didn't rise an awful lot more, but then remember how much cheese and garlic's packed in there. So we're just going to let them cool, and then we'll do a little taster. But there you go, your garlic and Parmesan bread. Ooh, and it's still warm out of the oven. Let's try a little bit. Got the hit of the garlic immediately, and the cheesiness. You've got that saltiness from the Parmesan, but it's not overpowering. But let's just try it with a little bit of butter as well. Perfecto.